than welcome to come sit in one of the front rows. Eh?
Oh, sure. I thought it was a COVID thing or something. Okay.
I might actually jump back because I feel like I'm being pushed.
Being pushed to?
This corner, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, front row seated. Oh, that's
It's not you.
I'll adjust it later. Alrighty, it is now. What time is it now? 5 minutes past 9. We're doing a lot better. 5 minutes early today, so we are getting somewhere. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our another Toastmasters meeting. This is our 168th meeting and our 47th Zoom online meeting. So we are really looking forward to today's agenda. We've got some very exciting speaker happening and some really good table topics that will be taking place. I'd like to give a warm welcome to our guests. We've got starting at the back. We've got Mpok. Mpok, do you want to just say hi and introduce yourself?
Good morning. My name is Nicole. What else do you say? I work as a PA down the road at Barnes for a principal. I work in a school. So this is my first attendance.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. And Chrissy.
I introduce myself again. Second time. Good morning. My name is Chrissy. My second time today with Brands and Toastmasters. I enjoyed last week as I'm back today. Yeah, I'm looking forward to another exciting week.
Thank you, Chrissy. Welcome back. And then we're going to go back to Dino. Oh, you leave it. President Dino, please introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Dean P. I'm the media past president of the club. So I'm an engineer by trade. As soon as you said principal, I was waiting for you to say principal,
Sorry.
like engineer. And Barnes,
Oh, you don't say. Okay.
So anyway,
Sorry.
I'm an avid Drive to Survive story watcher, which is on Netflix, on the one car. So when we said principal again, I was like, principal. Okay, anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Dino. And we've got our amazing Tandeka.
My name is Tanya. I'm the member of the club. Okay. I have a role as a treasurer in the commission, and I'm quite enthusiastic.
Right, and those are your introductions. As for me, I'm Matthew Milo, the current president, 2021-2022 president of the Bryanston Breakfast Club. So what is Toastmasters? Toastmasters is an international organization that allows for people to practice their public speaking, communication, and leadership skills. Here at the Bryanston Breakfast Club, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which all our members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills that result in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Our theme for 2021-2022 is extreme ownership, which is taking extreme accountability for your development. Because as a public speaker, at the end of the day, no matter how much stuff, how many times we meet in the club and how much information we throw at you, it still is your responsibility to take accountability for your development. Our theme for today is Wing It, and our Toastmaster for the day will be Tandeka Mstanga. Tandeka, I will now hand over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen. Yes, here, members online and guests online, good morning and welcome. Today, we are going to wing it. Can we all understand the term? Can I get views? What is your understanding? I'll start with you. Winging it. Wing. No, wing it.
Wing it.
Dino?
I believe that South Africans, our biggest import is offcuts from South America. One of them is wings.
Yes.
Winging it. Bringing from afar and adapting it to our market. Winging it. Is that right?
Well, nice try. Thank you for that imagination. Yeah, I think it's good. But I'll let you know, Umpo.
Well, for me, now when you think about it, just take this model, go with it. That's the okay. Mr. President,
Improvise.
good. So, indeed, we're going end. Mr. President, we have to talk about that. So the term, basically, it's most popular in the arts, creative arts industry, where you go for an audition, but you don't know what the lines are. So you only get to know the lines while you're waiting. So you get the lines in the wings while you're waiting. And rain, So you have to make the best out of it and improvise. So indeed, you don't know, you're unprepared, but you have to work on it, right? So basically for me, I chose this to spin today because we remember our club ownership, only itself by something. So, but as you go, you have to push yourself. You have to. Today you find yourself being Toastmasters, wing it. Today you're gonna be allocated a role, just wing it. Came here not knowing that you'd be an accountant or what, and right now, an accountant. An accountant is somebody that's going to count as you speak. Each and every speaker that comes here will be monitored for how many times they use crush words like and fillers, we call them fillers. So there will be somebody who's counting, and then at the end of the meeting, give us a report. So I'd like one point for that. I had 3 photos that I'm looking for. You can have and account here.
It's the easiest.
Okay. Thank you. And don't be shy. The 100 extremely shy. Thank you so much. A grammarian. They're looking now for a grammarian. Grammarian looks at how well you make use of the English language. The grammarian also has the opportunity document of introducing the word of the day. So you come up with the word of the day. The word of the day, everybody who speaks must make sure they incorporate it. Oh, volunteers first. No?
Go for another road.
Okay. So, by the time I sit down, you give us the word of the day.
We've actually got the word of the day. The word of the day is improvise. which is to create and perform spontaneously. Improvise.
Yeah. So don't forget to put that in your whatever speech making, whether it's topics. Then our timer. Timer is time every speaker. Yeah. All right. Chrissy is our timer. Then the general evaluation. So you know our general
Yep.
So ladies and gentlemen, without wasting time, welcome Aobi. That's how you say it. Okay.
Online, so I just want to see if the
Yeah, can you please say hello?
just make sure that
Hi, online attendees.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Haopi,
Can you
correct.
please say hello?
How's everyone doing?
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Haopi. Pleased to meet everyone on the other side.
Oh,
morning, Copy.
Morning, Haopi.
Hello. Copy, how's the sound on your side? Can you hear us
It's
properly?
not great. I can hear you, but I'm struggling a little bit. It's not one of the greatest connections, really.
Okay. As long as you can hear Tandeka speaking, I'm at the back of the room. So that's what you need to be hearing.
can you hear me? Can you hear me well?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you well now.
Oh, so I just need to speak up.
There we go, Tandega. That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, good. Thank you, helping.
Thank you.
This one.
Yeah, so please just remind me when we're talking to the audience, I'll switch to that one. And then it's the speaker will switch to that one.
Thank you for joining us, Helping, and you are welcome. We hope you will join us again and finally take a decision to join the club. Now I'm going to introduce our education slot. I would like to welcome our president back to the podium. Mr. President.
Awesome. So for our educational today, our speaker is going to be Vanessa Edwards. Vanessa Edwards is a behavioral scientist and she specializes in body language. The educational that I'm going to be sharing with you today is going to be a TED talk that she did that highlights the importance of body language, how you show up when you're on stage, and what are some of the key things to look out for and the key things to do when you are coming onto stage. The reason these are so important is because in one of her books called Cues, she mentions that within the first 30 seconds of you walking up onto stage, the audience has already assessed how confident you are and whether or not they want to listen to you. And so it is very important that from the moment you walk onto stage, you know what are some of the things that you need to be doing with your body in order to not just gain the trust of the audience, but also help you feel more confident as a speaker. The educational is going to be about 20 minutes long, so please do take notes on it. Alrighty, I will now share my screen for everyone to see.
Last year, we made a huge effort to move to containerization, particularly Docker. But with that change, it altered how we package and deploy our code. And it's a mind shift for many of our developers, which Circle would put in playbooks for building these particular artifacts. And the engineer doesn't really even concern themselves with the existence of a Docker file, other than making changes that are specific to their application. But once it's pushed to circle, on the other end, our QA engineers are able to deploy set Docker artifact. A lot of the time when we are doing more complex Docker builds, we leverage circles caching mechanisms to pre-build a lot of items, and then we package them into
While
Docker at the
you
very end.
while
And
we wait
circle
for Nick to
workflows
project,
is an extreme
can
delight
you
and
tell us a little bit about
absolutely
yourself?
necessary for what we're looking to do, and it's made it a lot easier for our developers to understand what is
Hi,
happening at
Kandeka.
each part of a.
What I'm hearing in the I'm hearing two sounds, so I'm not quite sure what you just said now.
Can you please tell us a little bit about yourself while we wait for the president to project his video?
Oh, okay.
Hey, real quick,
Maybe
I wanted to
let
tell
me
you about a
just-
special promotion that we're running for Dudely, our
Mhm.
flagship software product that allows anyone to.
Yes, Haupe?
Okay. Okay, my name is Gaupa Lelwe, so that's the full name. Gaupa is just short. Well, I'm an engineer by profession, electrical engineer. I work in the water sector. Well, I decided to come and join Toastmasters so that I can just, improve a little bit in terms of presentation skills. So I thought this will be a great platform to also meet like-minded people. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I decided to just come and join everyone. I'm looking forward to learning today.
Thank you so much. That's very exciting to hear helping and to welcome another engineer. So,
Thanks, Kandeka.
I'm sure he's quite excited about that. So today, fortunately, our main speaker is also an engineer. So,
Oh.
unfortunately, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Over to you.
This is me at the. Hello, my name is Vanessa, and I am a recovering awkward person. This is me at the peak of what I like to call my plaid vest phase. Luckily, my years of social awkwardness led me to a fascinating career trying to figure out how people work. So what I didn't realize is that many years ago, I would do an experiment that led me right on this stage in front of you here today. My lab researchers and I were curious about TED Talks. We wanted to know, why do some TED Talks go viral and others don't? So we embarked on a huge experiment. We analyzed thousands of hours of TED Talks looking for patterns. Now, I wasn't sure if we would find anything, so we were analyzing body language, hand gestures, vocal variety. We even looked at outfit choices, which made today particularly pressure-filled. And very quickly, there was a pattern in the data that made me curious. And after we coded more and more TED Talks, we realized there was a pattern. Now, before I tell you what that is, I have a personal question for you, which is, when you see someone, what part of the body do you look at first? You can just call it out. Where do you look first when you see someone? Face, eyes. So most people, shoes. They're very high. So most people say eyes, face, or mouth. But actually, when we first see someone, the first place we look is the hands. And this is left over from our caveman days. Because if we were approached by a stranger caveman, the first place we looked was the hands to see if they were carrying a rock or a spear. In other words, we wanted to know if we were safe, if they were friend or foe. Now, this actually still remains from caveman days. And when we can't see someone's hands, something interesting happens. So I just did something a little mean to your brain. You should start to feel just a little bit uncomfortable. And the reason for that is because when you can't see my hands, you wonder, what is she doing back there? And then the longer I leave my hands behind my back, you get more and more distracted because you can't see them. And eventually your brain is just screaming, can she just bring her hands out from behind her back? And the moment I bring them back out, it feels so much better. And this is because our brain knows that if we can't see hands, we can't see intention. And what we found is when we compared the most viewed TED Talks side by side with the least viewed TED Talks, we found a pattern with hand gestures. Specifically, on average, the most popular TED Talkers use an average of 465 hand gestures in 18 minutes. Yes, we painstakingly counted every single one. I have 465 prepared for you today. And the least popular TED Talkers use an average of 272 hand gestures, almost half. What's happening here? So when TED speakers take the stage, they're showing you first, friend, 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 friend. You'll notice when I walked out on the stage, I waved. I was saying friend, 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 friend. And the other thing that TED speakers do is, see if this looks familiar. So they come into the red dot and they do something like this. Today, I want to talk to you about a big idea. I'm going to break it down into 3 different areas that are going to change your life. Right? So the most viral TED Talkers seem to sit in the same way with these hand gestures, because what they're doing is they're showing you, I know my content so well that I can speak to you on 2 different tracks.
As a business, you want to make your customers feel special with great customer service. But
I can speak to you with my words, but I can also explain my concepts with my hands. And this way, they underline their concepts with their words. For example, if I were to say, today, I have a really big idea. It's huge. You laugh, and you're like, Vanessa, it's so small. It's not very big. And that is because your brain gives 12.5 times more weight to hand gestures. So today, I have a really, really big idea, and I'm going to explain it to you in 3 different ways. My big idea is that we are contagious. Specifically, as humans, we are constantly sending and decoding body language signals. We also do this emotionally and chemically. To explain this, I have a rather disgusting but very fascinating study. So in this study, researchers collected sweat pads from people who ran on the treadmill. Then they collected sweat pads from skydivers on their first time skydive. 2 very different kinds of sweat. Here's the disgusting part. Then they had poor, unsuspecting participants. I know. They had unsuspecting participants in the lab smell these sweat pads while they were in an fMRI machine. Here's where it gets interesting. Even though the participants had no idea what they were smelling, the ones that smelled the skydiving sweat pads had their fear response in their brain activated. In other words, they caught the fear. This means that our emotions are contagious. Our fear is contagious. Our confidence is contagious. And this begs the big question. If our emotions are contagious, how do we make sure that we're infecting people with the right ones? So I believe that we can be contagious in 3 different ways. The first one is non-verbally. Now, to test this idea, I did a very simple experiment in the streets of Portland, Oregon. What I did is I stood in the street and I looked up at nothing. And I wanted to see if people would catch or mirror my nonverbal. So you can see this video. I stand in the streets looking at nothing. And slowly, one by one, I infect people walking by. And slowly, we begin to gather a crowd. So, this poor woman, she was standing there with me, and we're standing there, and remember, we're looking at nothing. I just want to improve it. And we're standing, and I'm going, how long are we gonna stand here? Who's gonna break first? And after about 40 seconds, we're looking, and she leans over and she says, And this experience taught me that we catch emotions and then we create rationales for why we've caught that emotion. Now, this is actually a good thing. As humans, this keeps us safe. Dr. Paul Ekman has studied something called the microexpression. It's a universal facial expression, and he's discovered there are 7 of them. Across genders and races, we all make this same expression when we feel an intense emotion. This is the fear microexpression. So fear is a really important emotion because we want to catch it from someone else to warn us if something's about to go wrong. And this facial expression also keeps us safe. So imagine for a second that you're walking and you see a snake. Your eyelids and your eyebrows jump out of the way so you can take in as much of the environment as possible. Is there another snake? What's my escape route? Then your mouth opens so you can take in oxygen in case you have to fight, yell for help, or flee. We make this face before we consciously realize we've seen a snake. Now, what's interesting about it is you should be starting to feel a little bit anxious. And that is because when we see other people have fear, if we saw this face in the subway, we would be like, what's wrong? What's going on? Because it keeps us safe. So I want you to try it with me. So open your eyes as wide as possible. Raise your eyebrows up, very good. Now take in a sharp breath. Perfect. Do you feel anxious? What's interesting about facial expressions is they cause our emotions. So not only do our emotions cause our face, but our face also causes our emotions. It's called the facial feedback hypothesis. So when we see someone with this face, we catch their emotion, and then we are ready to fight, flee, or yell for help. Luckily, this also works with positive emotions. So one of the faces behind me is a real happiness microexpression, and one of them is fake. So the real happiness microexpression is when the smile reaches all the way up into these upper crow's feet muscles, those upper cheek muscles. And this is really important because you know when you tell a frenemy good news and they say they're happy for you, but you know they're not really? It looks like this. Oh yeah, I'm so happy for you. So try the fake expression for me first. So just try this fake smile, only on the bottom half of the face. You can even go, It doesn't feel so good, right? It feels inauthentic. Now go all the way up into your eyes. So smile all the way up into the upper cheek muscles. That should feel so much better. So what's interesting about this facial expression is it causes our own happiness. And we also catch it when we see it. Researchers at the University of Finland looked at these 2 facial expressions, and they had participants look at photos of people with real happiness and fake happiness. They found that when they showed participants pictures of the real happiness smile, those emotions caught the positive emotions, and they themselves had a positive mood change. But when they looked at the face with the fake happiness smile, they caught nothing. In other words, if we show up to events that we're ambivalent about, interact with people that we don't really like, we become less memorable. This doesn't just happen in person, it also happens on the phone. So I work with a lot of different clients, corporate clients who are on the phone all the time. They said, Vanessa, I get being happy in person, but how about on the phone? So we decided to do an experiment where we had participants in our lab record different versions of their hello, the first impression on the phone. We wanted to know if people could hear happiness, sadness, or anger. So we had people record different versions of their hello with happiness, sadness, anger, and while power posing. We wanted to see if they would sound different. So I want to play you 2 different versions of hello and see if you can guess which one is the happy hello. Are you ready? All right, same person. Here's A.
Hello?
Here's B.
Hello?
How many people think A is the happy hello? How many people think B is the happy hello? Very good. We can hear this difference. We can hear this microexpression. Now, I thought this was interesting, but I wanted to take it a step further. So we devised a second part of our experiment where we had participants in our lab listen to these recordings and rate that person on likability. We wanted to see if the happiness microexpressions or the anger microexpressions or the power posing expressions did better. Here's what happened. After we asked people, I do like this person, a lot, I like this person a little, or I do not like this person. We found that the happiness microexpressions across all trials for both men and women, they became more likable. Whereas the same person who made an anger or sadness microexpression were less likable. This is the happy side effect of having your confidence be contagious. Not only do you infect someone else with that happiness, you also become more likable. We talked about nonverbal, and I have to talk about what comes after the hello. How do we infect confidence verbally? So in this study we did in Portland, Oregon, we took 500 speed networkers, and we asked each of these speed networkers to go through a conversation starter round, 8 of these rounds. So we assigned each participant a conversation starter to have with a stranger. Then we set up cameras in all corners of the room, and we analyzed each of these speed rounds for patterns. We were looking for body language patterns, leans, nods, laughs, smiles, confidence. We were also looking for volume differences. In a really good conversation, usually the volume goes up. In a really awkward, bad conversation, there's lots of silences and the volume goes down. And we also asked each of
And that was pretty much the educational for today. And if anyone wants to continue watching it, it is Vanessa Van Adwitz. You are contagious on YouTube is the word that I'm looking for. Hey. Yeah. So yeah, again, the purpose of this educational was just to show you, just to highlight why it is so important for us to show up in a particular way, why it's so important to walk onto the stage in confidence, even though you have absolutely no idea what you're doing and you're shit scared. Sorry. Yeah, so, and you know how your confidence and your body language is contagious to the audience in and around you. So yeah, that is our educational session today. Thank you very much, Vanessa, for presenting that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll go back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
You can ask some questions. She had too many gestures. Is this such a thing as too many? Because she says that 500 means there's a lot of gestures there, and it's a lot to watch. Whilst the other one was 276 whatever gestures. There wasn't a lot of gestures, and the videos weren't watched a lot. But for me, she kind of had this drumming beat kind of action the whole time. It kind of was distracting. Is there a way that there could be too much?
Yes. So just for helping, Dino's asking if there is such a thing as too many hand gestures in a speech. In her book, Cues as well, she does talk about it. And she says, yes, there is actually something as too many hand gestures. When you think of hand gestures, we should always think of a highlighter on a page. So when you're reading a book, you only highlight important parts on the page. You don't read the whole book highlighting every single line. So if you're standing here in front and you're just giving hand gestures unnecessarily, like, you know, it doesn't help what you're saying. The purpose of a gesture is, as with the example she was giving, to highlight a big idea or highlight a small idea. So hand gestures are meant to be more of a highlight rather than just a, yeah. But I hope she can answer the question better than me. Yes.
But also, I think it all depends on what you're talking about. Like in this case, she was talking about, you know, it was more to do with presenting. So she had to use.
I love that. Good observation. Context is important. Okay. Any more questions for Vanessa's spokesperson before I sit down? Okay, perfect. Over to you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President, for that, and thank you to Vanessa for that informed speech. Hopefully, we've all taken a lesson from that. Now, in our program, we're going into the table topics. Table topics, yes, to guess it. It's unprepared speech. Yes. So you were here pretty last week. You're quite familiar with it. Our table topics master. Again, I'm going to have to call back the vice president, and he will explain to us what his table topics consist of. Now we have to time. We start timing. The table topics are 1 minute, right?
1 to 2 minutes.
So you must keep yourself, you must keep your speech to that 1 to 2 minutes. Because minimum of 1 minute, maximum 2 minutes. Mr. Table Topics. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster. Okay, so as the Toastmasters mentioned, a table topics is 1 to 2 minutes in which you are given a topic that you're unprepared for. The reason this is so important is because as Toastmasters, we will find ourselves in situations whereby you're asked to give a speech on something and you have not prepared for it. Given everything that has been happening with me this week, I decided that, and it's in line with our theme for today, our table topics for today, the theme is going to be moral dilemmas. Moral dilemmas. So a moral dilemma is a situation in which the decision maker must consider 2 or more moral values, but can only honor one of them. Okay, so I've got some very exciting moral dilemmas. We've got about 13 that I'd like us to participate in, and I've already allocated them to everybody in the room. So you're all going to be getting very exciting moral dilemmas. At the end, we are going to see where overall we are morally as a group. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I hope it pops up on the side. Okay. So we're going to start with number 13. And for number 13, I would like to give that one to Dino. Dino, would you rather get punched by a gorilla or punch a small child? So while Dino's there busy, this one is an interesting problem because sometimes you have to choose between getting punched by a gorilla and hitting a child. And I guess it's a troubling decision to make. So Dino, would you rather get punched by a gorilla or punch a small child? Over to you.
Thank you. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. No, I'd be able to easily select. I know exactly which one to do, but which would be being punched in the face by a gorilla. And look at that thing. That's a big animal right there. That is, and it looks like he's celebrating his birthday. I think he'll take pleasure out of punching you in the face. Oh, but on the other hand, I've got a 20-month-old baby girl that's come into my life, and she's a complete bubble of joy in my life. So I could not imagine going that route. So, and even if it wasn't my kid, I would put myself in the parents' shoes, and seeing that actually happen to a child. I'd rather fall on the grenade than the grenade going off somewhere else. So that's me, and I'll be taking a sock from that gorilla right in the jaw. Cool. Thanks, Mr. Tabletop.
Thank you very much, Dino. So Dino would get punched by a gorilla. We're going to mark that one. All right, next. We've got our online guest, Helpy. This one is for you. Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you.
Perfect. You're a sheriff in the Wild West. An angry mob wants you to hand over a suspect of a violent crime to them. If you don't, the mob will destroy the property and injure civilians. Do you A, hand over the suspect, keep the suspect in custody, arrest everyone, or give the mob a person dressed up like the suspect? Your 2 minutes are onto you.
Quite an interesting one. Thank you very much, Table Topic Master. So, well, for me, I think bearing in mind what is happening out there in the world in terms of the war, I think we all understand that we really don't want anything with civilians. I mean, I'm also part of, might also be in fact affected at some stage. So I would really hand over the suspect, because at the end of the day, it's all about the collective, at least save the majority of the civilians who might not know anything about this, and hand over the suspect. And yeah, that's how I will be looking at it, really, just to save the majority. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Halpe. Halpe would hand over the suspect. Okay, nice. Moral dilemma number 11. This one I prepared for Chrissy. Chrissy, would you rather save a random baby or save your parents? Would you rather save a random baby or save your parents?
Thank you. This is such a difficult one. But anyway, I think I would rather save a random baby. The reason why is because the random baby is such an innocent soul. You know, the random baby is new to the world, no sin, nothing. They are just a blessing, I mean, to every human being that they can come across. I think I'll rather save them because they're an innocent child, and they're a gift. They'll be a gift to anyone. So that's my take. I would rather save a baby than my parents. Thank you.
If you ever go away, remember to leave your babies with Christy, because Christy will keep your baby safe. Okay. I think I want to give this one to Mpo. A friend confesses that they committed a crime, but they make you promise not to tell. An innocent person is accused of the crime. What do you do? Inform the police that your friend is the guilty one, keep quiet, testify in court that you saw the innocent person committing a crime. This is a very South African thing to do. Or ask your friend to give you money. Oh, another South African thing to do. Ask your friend to give you money in exchange for keeping quiet. Oh, what do you do in this situation?
Oh my word. So with me, I'm very big on loyalty. I'm just gonna say the tables were turned and it was me who did whatever crime this is. For me, firstly, it will depend what crime has been committed. Are we talking murder? Are we talking, shoplifting? I will gauge on exactly what the crime is. And then I won't take the high moral ground. I'd rather keep quiet. There's no way I'm gonna say my friend did it. And worst part, there's no way I'll point to somebody else who did not actually do it. So I'd leave it to the courts to decide, but I'd rather just say, I don't know, even though I'd rather do sleep over it, but I won't hand my friend over.
Well done. If you need a loyal friend, get yourself a Mpo.
Yes.
All right. And we know exactly who this one is. Tandeka, your boss calls you in. A mistake has been made. It's partly your fault and your best friends. The boss has decided to fire one person. Do you take responsibility or do you personally fire your best friend? I absolutely love this one because in our current context, it is very frequent that we find ourselves being our supervisors of our friends. And so what would you do in this situation, Tandeka? Would you fire your best friend, take responsibility and get fired, try and blame it on the janitor, or tell him the truth that you were both responsible?
Well, do I take responsibility? Do I lie? Do I blame the janitor? Do I fire my best friend? So I looked very well at the question. It didn't say I was my friend's boss. It said the boss, my boss, and then my best friend. So I don't have a responsibility to fire anybody. Now, so there is a moral dilemma here, and I will try and improvise. The moral dilemma is that all of us go to work so that we can feed our children. And if we didn't need to feed our kids, our families, or whatever, we wouldn't be at work, we'd be probably out there jollying. However, there also is a responsibility to do the right thing at work. So you've signed up to do your work properly. Then if you make a mistake, there is a responsibility to disclose that I made a mistake. The employer also has a responsibility to assist you with this mistake and see whether it was intentional. Is it because you needed some training, some intervention? So I would put it back in the court of my boss and tell him that, hey, I think in this case it's a him, he wants to blame me. So I would say it's both of us, so that he then takes the responsibility whether he fires us or not. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Tandeka will go with tell him the truth that you were both responsible. If you want a very ethical colleague, get yourself a Tandeka. Okay. We're going to do one last round. And this time we're going to start again with yourself, Hoppy. Would you rather be poor forever and honest or get rich by doing illegal things? How South African are you?
Okay. This is quite a difficult one. So let's see the different options that exist: be poor and honest or get rich by doing illegal things. I'd rather just have an average. Those two, the last two options also available on the table, right?
That's correct.
Correct. Okay, then I'd rather just have an average income and be slightly trustworthy. I think I'll go with that one. I think it still gives me the benefit of both, not necessarily becoming poor and just at the same time trying to lean on the honesty part alone, and also just looking at the fact that I don't necessarily just want to be poor and also just be dishonest. So I think this one keeps me in the balance. So yeah, this one from a moral perspective, and like you're saying, South African, I like to keep it that way. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Albert. And just again, as we do the second round, I'd like you guys to listen out to some of your favorite speakers, because at a later stage, you are going to be voting for the best table topics. We might ask you to give a little bit of an evaluation on one of the table topics that you enjoyed the most. Okay. Dino, you look like someone that loves driving. What's the correct speed to drive at?
Yes, yeah.
Let's be honest, I'm a plain Jane when it comes to driving. I see this fast sports car, I'm like, that's cool. And what happens inside of me is that I'm just seeing burning rubber hitting the tarmac. And I'm like, you're burning out your tread. You have to change those, you know how costly it is. It comes down to economics. I'm like, no, stop it. You're destroying the environment, just like everything inside me is just eating up inside. So coming down to the dilemma over here is that what speed should you drive at? The speed of traffic. Oh, that's a good one. Over the speed limit, whatever gets me there the fastest. If there was an option about getting me there the most economically, so I drive the Golden Highway around past Soweto, and I've seen that my car at 120 kilometers an hour gets me about 5.5 liters per 100. At 130, it goes to 5.3. So you know what? I know it's over the speed limit, but it's like, but it's within the agreed speed limit. It's 10 over, cool. But it's keeping my car more economical. I haven't tried to go faster than 130 to see maybe that economics comes even further down. But I think it's just pushing it. There's too many slower cars on the highway at the moment. So I'm going to have to say the speed of traffic. If I have to choose one of the options, the speed of traffic, unfortunately. Cool. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you very much, Stephen. At the rate that your speech was going, I was so certain you're going to say over the speed limits. All right. We're going to skip number 6. Mpo, your brother fell into quicksand. 7 feet away is a vial containing the only known cure for cancer. You have time to save one. Who do you choose? Your brother, the vial? Ask your brother what he wants to do, or neither. In other words, you have the potential to save a cure that could heal cancer and save a nation versus saving your brother.
No. Sure. So, first of all, I only have one brother and 3 sisters. So had it been the other way around, maybe it would have been easier to say, there's 2 more of you. Seeing if there's only one of him, I think I'll ask him that, dude, what do you want me to do? But should he say, then I think of my mom that, you know, they're still back home. She's gonna be like, yeah, you. I think if he's of the age that I can ask him, if he's over 18, well, it's still very young. Okay, depending on how old he is, I'll ask him. If he's still young, then I will. Okay, no, I'll ask the brother.
Thank you very much, Umpo. I love what happened right there with Umpo. That shows what moral dilemmas do for you. When you think you know the right one, then it's like, The mom will put you out. And our last, we've got time for one more. So Chrissy, I would like to hand this one to you. A man tells you he's terminally ill. His terminally ill father's insurance policy will expire at midnight. If he dies after midnight, he gets no money. He asks you to kill his father with a pillow. Do you do nothing, kill the father, ask for half the money, then kill the father, or tell the father about the plan, then ensuing argument? I'd like to adapt this one to, instead of killing him with a pillow, we assume they are living in KZN and you have the option to drown them. What do you do? these are your options.
Okay, honestly, I wouldn't choose the father. I mean, I wouldn't be in a position to. I remember some time ago there was an article that I wrote where I think it's in South Africa, where there was an assisted death, like when people are terminal ill and then they this assisted death, yeah. And in SA, I think it was illegal. I don't know if it's still illegal now, of which I was really in agreement with that, because I feel it's not anyone's duty to assist people in ending their lives. Ultimately, that's all coming from the one above. So honestly, I wouldn't take that route. I mean, money or no money, we leave everything unto him. So yeah, I wouldn't. Honestly, I wouldn't do that.
Which is your option on the screen?
Okay, so my option, I will do nothing. That's the first option. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for participating in the table topics. Now we're going to see how moral we are as a group.
Jerry Springer would have chosen the last option. They basically were told that no, because hey, this guy wants me to kill you. And then there's the argument on the team. Yeah.
Okay, we'll share the options with us when we get back a bit later. The network is just a bit slow. But for now, I will hand back over to you, Mrs. Toastmaster, for the day, and we shall continue with the program.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master and fellow guests and Toast members, Toastmasters for participating. That was quite interesting to see how ethical we are. It is now 10 o'clock time for our 10-minute break.
It's yours. We're going to take a 10-minute break. Yes.
Howbib, we are taking a 10-minute break, and since you are the only one online, you can choose. At this time, we grab something to eat, so you can do that. You can stay online, join us as we chat, or mute yourself and come back at 10:10.
Okay, no, thank you. It's up to me. Okay, I'll stay on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take a break.
Thank you. Okay, while we wait for the meals to come through, while we're at it, it'll be past. 4 minutes past.
How big? Quarter past.
At quarter past. Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks.
So, Humphrey, I don't know if you're there, you're taking a break.
Yes, Matthew. How are you? Hello?
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
It's my sound, that's the issue.
Okay. Hello. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Just checking, I think the problem is on my side.
Okay.
My sound has. Oh, sweet, yeah.
Okay, maybe let's try again. Is it better now?
Rather, and I'll reconnect it. Yeah, I just wanted to see you, greet you properly.
Yes. Because I tried switching on my video earlier on and I could see that I couldn't see myself on the screen. So I just switched it off just to do a proper introduction.
Acting up again.
Yeah.
Still nothing, or is it better now?
Okay. I think I should be able to hear you now.
Okay. How are you doing?
I can hear you perfectly now.
Oh, great. Yes.
Oh, so welcome. Thanks for coming to the meeting.
Yes, thank you for having me. It was quite interesting to find you guys on Meetup because I was like, oh, I didn't know this was happening online. I would have joined a long time ago.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, is it first time visiting Toastmasters, been here before?
I've never been there before, but I've always heard people say that I must come and visit. So like I'm saying, I never thought that you guys were operating online. Otherwise, I would have joined a long time. But yeah,
100%.
so far, it's great.
Which side do you stay? Where do you stay? Or where are you based?
Well, I'm based in the south, actually. So when you're one in Johannesburg, yes, Johannesburg South. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But when I saw yours coming up, I'm like, this is the only one I see anyway. So I'm just gonna join because I understand you guys are in Midrand, right?
Yes, so we're in Bryanston.
Bryanston, okay.
That's part of Southampton, yeah. So we do meet every second and fourth Saturday of the month. So yeah, you're more than welcome. If you ever feel like coming to visit us in person, you're more than welcome to come. We have an amazing breakfast. If you want to join us online, all our meetings are hybrid, so you're always welcome to pop in.
Oh, fantastic. I think I would like to pop in at some point. So,
100.
but how do I then make that arrangement? Or because this one I do get a link, but then for future ones, should I just rock up and what time do we start?
Yeah, so I'm gonna pop you my number. Please send me with your email address and
I already sent you an email address. Remember, I was speaking to Dino and well, most of the time, and he copied you.
I'll get it from Dino and then I'll just send you the link that you can use to register for our meetings when you come through.
Oh, okay, yes. Oh, great. Perfect. So when did you guys start with the hybrid?
We've been doing hybrid since last year, right? Hybrid.
No, we started hybrid
this year. Since January. We've been doing
since
hybrid.
January.
Yeah. So
okay, fantastic.
It's been working well. And yeah, just at the end of the meeting, I'd just like you to share your feedback on how you find being online, just your experience of being in the club online. Is that okay?
Well, definitely. Yeah, that's fantastic. I'll do so.
All right, perfect. Please do grab yourself a cup of tea and then we will resume at like 10:15 in the next 5 minutes, okay?
In the next 5 minutes, okay. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thanks for participating, Kalpi.
Thank you for having me. Cool then.
I'll just give us 2 minutes. We're starting now, right?
Okay,
If you start,
got it.
copy.
Okay.
This idea that you have to make sure that they've covered all their bases. But might be a simple board. Like the lawyer is his ethics to say that if you're going to be there's a matter of the process you have to follow. So that's what you do. I'll make sure that the process. They're not people who do it free. Like, this is always subjective.
Yeah.
It's always subjective.
That's why it's Victoria. Say, in this field, you think that
That's what I can say. It's a person's perception of. There's a judge that will perceive that is this right or wrong. There's no like engineering. It's an on and off switch.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's right, it's right.
That's why I love engineering. It's politics. The law side, I believe, is humility. Nothing else.
Right?
It's
Thanks, Dr.
humility.
You can continue with your story.
The illustration
No sugar.
Let's go with humility.
Lead in any situation.
Okay, we're back. Thank you so much again for showing up again. I apologize for starting a bit late. Our food arrived late. So,
No, it's fine.
so we're gonna dive straight into our agenda. Now we are in the second session, which is our prepared speech. Our speaker of the day is Mr. Dino Lupini. Mr. Dino Lupini is going to give a speech that is 8 to 10 minutes long. It's leads in any situation, humility. Dino Lupini, in any situation, humility.
Martha Brooks. I'm a bitch lyrics. I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a mother, I'm a fighter. I'm a singer, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint. I'm all these things. I'm your hell, I'm your dream, I'm nothing in between. I know what you wouldn't want it any other way. In today's world of moving economies, an environment of industries moving from left to right, there's complete chaos happening. Today's leaders need to be agile and flexible to ensure that the best of society, who are kind of stuck in their ways, are able to function to their best. Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've had the privilege of being able to look back on my leadership role through the dynamic leadership pathways curriculum within Toastmasters. And I've been able to understand what is my default leadership stance and understand where it was cultivated from. And this is what I want to share with you this morning, is I am a leader, and how did it come about? So my career started off right out of university. I graduated as a mechanical engineer, and I was experienced in life. And I had this North Star of becoming the best engineer within my organization. And so a big project that was carried out that I had to perform was to design a pyrotechnic sampling device. Basically, I had to sample gunpowder. And I had 2 weeks to put something together. So I climbed up into my little dark room, started doing some calculations, doing all my spreadsheets and stuff. And after 2 weeks, I popped out and presented within to my management and to the client. It was a grueling 2 hours. I was ripped apart. And at the end of it, our manager gave me a proper suck in the gut to say, what have you been doing for 2 weeks? Then he pulled me aside and says, listen, people that work make mistakes. So if you're making mistakes, you're working. So either there's 2 routes you can take. You can either learn from your mistakes, or you can learn from other people's mistakes. And that way, you start to multiply your learnings by not looking like a clown.
So that's one of the lessons I've learned, is that experienced people have made mistakes that you've done in the past. They've made mistakes. And if you talk to them about how they've overcome those challenges, you can actually prevent future failures from happening. So humility is a lesson that I learned. Open up and talk to individuals about their challenges and how they've overcome it. So humility in my pocket, moved off onto my next operation as a plant engineer. I moved into a group whereby the artisans on the ground are 26 guys, very experienced. They knew exactly what to do and how to do it. And when the problems came in, it came thick and fast. And which was fantastic, because I was in an environment that I did not know how to tackle it. And when management came raining their demands, especially from a financial aspect, that you needed to get the stuff up and running right now. The one day I went down into the workshop and said, guys, we need to do this, this, and this. My direct report, Freddie, pulled me aside and says, you know, you've told us what we need to do. We know that if this plant isn't running, it's not making money. If it's not making money, we're not going to get a salary. We'll get this stuff done. So this is the skill set I learned from him. He managed me, so then I can manage upwards. So managing managers is a crucial skill that I learned within that role. And also within that aspect, that area, I learned how, this is where I learned how to shelter my team from management up above, so that they can concentrate on what needs to be done. Then I moved into the president role of Toastmasters. This is the role, top of the club. You are responsible for deliverables and meeting specific objectives that you want to achieve. Easy. I knew what we needed to do. Within Toastmasters, all you have to do is you have to come here and present. The more you present, the better you get. Easy. So I set an objective, 100 speeches for the year, for the club, of course. And we went down this road. And it was an interesting objective to achieve. But I learned after my first discussion with Matt, when I became immediate vice president, it's not really a vision where it actually pulls you out of the bed and gets you going. 100 speeches within a year sounds kind of too much. It's overwhelming. So I only learned this once I had my discussion with Matt, that my objective was exactly that. It was just a smart goal. It wasn't a vision. So as immediate past president, my responsibility is to guide and mentor the incoming president. And a simple question I asked Matt was, Matt, what do you envision for the club going forward? And he simply said, I want our club to be the best public speaking club within Bryanston, in Joburg, in Gauteng, South Africa. Ambitious, but as soon as he said that, I get goosebumps on my arm. And I'm like, you know what? Why not? And now that is something that really pushes you out the bed, gets you going in the morning. So I want to say that throughout my career, I've learned that as a leader, my default is to be an authentic, innovative, democratic leader. It starts off with humility, listening to other people and understanding their inputs, kind of consuming it and then moving forward. And from there, I've kind of learned how to manage other people because there are different styles. So from there, I want to ask simple questions. What type of leader are you? And what is that vision that you're looking forward to that actually
pushes you out of the bed in the morning. And Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Dino. That was quite enlightening and impressive. I hope that we've all learned on how to become leaders and the humility that, because we all think that if you manage people, you have arrogant, they mustn't think they're afraid. But Mr. Dino is introducing humility. So without further ado, we are going to, I'm just on my program. So I'm going to then request our yes, because, okay, before that, is there anyone who wants to join me in evaluating Dino's speech? We're just going to have a breakout session.
You know what? I can actually leave the room and then we can have a discussion. I think that would be very active for
helping.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can discuss.
Okay. I think we'll just do that. Discuss for 5 minutes, Dino, then we'll call you.
Cool. I'll be sitting outside.
Thank you, guys. So Dino's journey has been trying to be intentional about his head gesture. Copy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Tandika.
Like he's intentional with his hand gesture, right? So we need to look at that. But the Toastmasters form guides us as well to say what we look for when we evaluate. So vocal clarity, vocal variety, awareness of the audience, keeping eye contact and the body. And the speech, the order of the speech. It gets to, he introduced it to the body to go flow logically to the end.
What were his speech objectives?
His speech objectives. He has to reflect on his leadership journey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Reflect on his leadership journey for the pathway. However, himself and even about this, he also wanted to check how effective it is.
Yeah, I think this speech that Dino gave is probably the best speech that I've heard him give since I've met him in Toastmasters. I found it really inspiring. It was well paced. Generally, Dino is always rushing through the speech and he's got a lot of filler words in his speeches. But this one was really nicely well paced. The theme of humility from the beginning to the end, he carried it through very, very nicely. I think when it comes to his hand gestures, he can do a little bit more. But I'm assuming this time it's because he had a full page in his hands with limited amount of gestures that he could have given. But overall, I think his hand gestures came through really well. Being carried out really well, very little filler words, and very inspiring speech. Very reflective.
I think I don't know much of what I was looking for yet. So can I give this one a miss, please?
Your overall thoughts?
Oh, just generally, yeah, just as somebody who's a plain Joe who was just looking at this person speaking. No, I thought he spoke very well. I was with him the entire time. I thought as he changed into different paragraphs, I was with him, and his body language kept me just stuck on him. I understood what he's saying, and I followed him, and I enjoyed him.
There's still a massive smile on your face when he was giving us the time.
Yes, I was very captured. I was like, yes, Dino, yes.
You know, when you knew, honestly, it's not easy.
Thank you.
Yeah, but also I like the speech. What I picked though is towards the end, that is, I think it was his last part where he was talking about the Toastmasters. Like I felt like as if it disjointed from the, you know, when he was speaking about him being a chemical engineer and then as a plant engineer, you know, and then this Toastmasters just like, you know, just like shifted. I don't know how to put it, but you know,
You lost him.
yeah, like just,
Okay.
yeah.
Connect the two together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what I picked there, but maybe I was still expecting him to go on and on with his career, you know, his, his profession to jump to Toastmasters.
2 minutes.
Absolutely.
And also he didn't spend the whole 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's 8 minutes.
Time.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
So he was at 8 minutes.
8 minutes, 9 seconds.
Yeah, so he still had 2 more minutes and he could have spoken more about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, and I agree with the sentiment. I feel that I understood how what he was talking about, that he needs to be more intentional at the time. He used them to speak, and sometimes when he used them to make the point, but there's like 50% of the time when he the head, right? And but there's a time where I liked when he was saying, like, you know, when he bent it down, when he went down into his weird. There was a, he says, I climbed up, but yet he was going down.
Oh,
You
sure.
know, you remember that? Yeah, he was going down, and he was just trying to align his like body movement with the words that he's using, and also humility in my pocket. Quite demonstrated, you know, was intentional, you know, into the counseling. And then also when you were saying management came training in, so that was intentional. The also think of the time it was intentional about the thing, but sometimes, you know, that way. Yeah, I liked how he's managing that. So yeah, I agree. The order of the speech was logical. You know, he introduced the problem and then he discussed and then left us with a question.
That was nice.
Yeah, left us with a question. Are you, what did you say?
What type of leader?
What type of leader? Yeah. Okay, good. Like then, do you know?
Please, so with us.
Oh, great. I think I see any. Do you want to give an opinion on you know, speech?
Okay. Well, based on what I've also observed in terms.
Okay.
Hello.
You can send a chat if you can.
She did say she was experiencing challenges.
She's in Joburg.
She's in the south. Yeah, that is Joburg. No one made it sound like
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. Like that. Yes, Joburg South. Can you hear me now?
Mr. Dino, we are quite happy that you made us give a speech today. Waiting for a speech. And I don't know, Marian report is going to be. There was no word of the day. Forgot about the word of the day. Improvise. So which was the word of the day. But we loved your speech, We found the speech quite informative and captivating. You are very nice to listen to. We liked how you changed the whole, we understand that people manage downwards, but you said no. In order for you to be able to do your work successfully and protect your team, you need to manage your boss. So we like that. We found that your speech was flowing nicely. It was well paced. In the past, you reflected on the previous speeches that you've given, that you seemed to be in a hurry, when you spoke. But this time you were well paced, you were quite comfortable. And also you had a good awareness of the audience. You kept looking at the audience as it is. Vocal clarity, you were clear, you understood what you were saying. And your vocal variety, we felt that at points where you needed to slow, go down, you went down, and then you went up when you needed to. With hand gesture, also, again, we'll hear from the grammarian again, but we felt that we had less fillers. And we felt that your hand gestures, you had a bit of both. You were 50-50. You're still using your hand gestures, and we think that maybe because you had to hold your paper or what, maybe sometime you will see next time maybe when there's the podium and your paper just sits on the podium and you're able to decide how you want to use your hands. So there were instances where you use your hands to make a point. For instance, management and raining down on you, what was that? Humility in your pocket. We knew that you're pointing us to your back pocket, and that was humility in the couple of other gestures. There was a time when you forgot. I think you wanted to correct yourself. You felt that you made a mistake, and immediately you went to your head. Right? You remember that time. So I think you'll have to look at the video and decide for yourself why that gesture, and do you want to keep it or not? Then what else? There was a time when you were demonstrating to us that you climbed down into your desk and to try and work on whatever project that you were given. That was an interesting contradiction, because your words, you were talking about climbing up. You said I climbed up, but you, right? Yeah, so try and align your words to your gesture. So don't go there. You climbing up yes, big improvement. So otherwise, overall, then there was a point where you took us through your Toastmaster role, how you've grown in Toastmaster, the objective and what and all of that. But then you also spoke about your engineering role, but you didn't say much. We felt that you could have used more time. I think you spoke for close to 8 minutes, and maybe try and fill up the time. So we were still curious in aligning Toastmaster and engineer, yeah. Otherwise, we really feel that you gave a very good speech, both in terms of content and how you kept us listening. So very well done. Thank you, Tandeka, for that evaluation. Now we will introduce Mr. Dino again and come and introduce our tags, which is timer, timekeeper, accounter, and grammarian.
It's weird to think that for me, when someone goes to their phone and starts typing notes, I always just think they get distracted. But if you see someone with a pen and piece of paper, it's fine.
Yeah.
Why is that? They could be drawing pictures on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
But it's so that's a, I don't know if it's a generation thing, or that'll be weird if I'm put into that generation. Matt, what do you think? If I'm on my phone in the back there, when Tamdek is busy saying my evaluation, start typing like this.
I think you're disinterested.
Disinterested, yes. Okay. But if I'm writing down on a piece of paper vigorously,
I'd say you focus.
yeah. Okay, cool. I'm not there yet. Maybe my daughter when she's popping up. Maybe also your children, if someone's giving the evaluation, they're writing down a piece of paper or typing the phone. I want to see when it changes. Okay. Sorry, that's a side note. That's not even part of the role. Okay, general evaluator. My role is to just give an overview of the entire meeting that I'll be asking the reports and feedbacks from everybody within the room and online. So let's just start off with the Timekeepers Report. Christy, if you can just give us feedback on the different times from the table topics and then the prepared speaker, that'd be great.
Right, on the table topics, we had 2 rounds.
Yes.
Right, on the first round, the first speaker was, and he had 1 minute 20 seconds. And then Hoapi, she had 43 seconds. I had 54 seconds. Paul had 48 seconds. And Tandega had 2 minutes. And then on our second round, Hoapi had 58 seconds. Dino, 1 minute and 8 seconds. Paul, 1 minute 5 seconds. And Dino just reported me on the second round. Yeah. And then on the prepared speech, Dino had 8 minutes, 9 seconds.
Thank you very much.
The group mayor. Let's have that.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr.
General
General
evaluator.
Evaluator. The word of the day was used once. I think I heard correctly used it in your speech. No, then the word of the day was not used at all. Interesting words that we used. Jolly as a substitute for dating. That was quite interesting. Sucker in the gut. Look like a clown. That was also interesting. The humility in my pocket and plain Joe. I thought that was also quite interesting. So yep, that's the grammarian report. It's there.
Thank you. Any corrections that we should be looking out for? Was there anything that you identified?
Not at the moment. There was one that did catch my attention. I had to research it, which was, it was nice listening to you. So automatically when you hear nice, I think of taste, but actually that isn't grammatically correct way of saying that it was pleasant or appeasing or polite listening to you. So well done on that, Rebecca. I thought I was going to catch you off there.
That's nice. I'll automatically go back to my primary school days. My English teacher, she would say, you do not use the word nice. It's a lazy word. There's so many other beautiful, colorful words that we could be using rather than nice. So, naughty, naughty. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's move across to the R counter.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Welcome.
I think that I only had one but I cannot say for sure that I maybe I could have missed it. At some point I found myself thinking, come back, but only just one in your second speech, literally just one.
Thank you very much. You too, kind.
or you're a poor active listener. It's horrible, you drifted off completely. I can tell you now, I've got a horrible way of saying the word so. So I've got a perfect writer. I've got a nice introduction, and then the way that I join my paragraphs together is so. And then we drift off into the next paragraph and carry on talking so. So that's my handbrake, which is a filler word. So thank you very much for that. So we've done grammar, we've done timer, we've done uncounter. Back to me, general evaluation of the operations. Matt, thanks. The layout of the room is fantastic. As soon as I walked in here, I love seeing the ornaments on there with the introductions and our Toastmasters values that are written up there. It's great to walk in here. Okay. I would say one thing I am kind of wondering about is the lighting. It does seem a little bit dark. So it's something that we have to work on. Just looking from the back there and online, it seems perfect. I'm getting myself down nice. But if you're standing in, I think it was over here that it doesn't look, something's missing. That is a comment about lighting. I don't know if you can look at that. Which generally love the layout. Love it. Now it's become very sleek. With the camera in the back room, I would actually like to know from Gapi, from your side, can you tell us from an online presence point of view, what did you think from a video point of view and an audio with the people, the presenter, and then the people making comments within the room? Are you able to give us feedback on that, please?
Yes. Okay. From my side, in terms of the way the camera is laid out, I think is perfect because I get to see the speakers. So that's great. The only thing is that every time the rest of the team speak within the room, it becomes very fainted. So it's a bit of a challenge. You have to listen attentively to get what everybody's saying. But I think maybe in future it will be the better of making sure that the mic is at least loud enough, because even when Tandega earlier when we were doing the when we were doing the evaluation, yes, she asked me if I could hear her. However, at some point I battled to hear her, but she was not necessarily far from where you are standing, exactly where she's sitting. So yeah, that's just the only thing. But in terms of the lighting, yes, I think it's fine, but it could be better as well from a camera video perspective. But my overall experience was great because I could interact with everybody within the actual room. So the hybrid works perfect, just the audio part. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Yeah, so it's a matter of the speaker. This is person on this screen right now is the most important. So as long as this person's standing here, it can be heard, it's all good.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So we need to just work on, next thing is our timing. It is a matter of that there's a lot to set up. So I believe that we just maybe have to help you out, getting things up and running. There's a lot of things just to tick off, like the meeting invite isn't aligned with the meeting that you had on the screen. So we assume that no one wants to attend, but someone was knocking on the door. You were on a completely different house. So yeah, I think, can you put together just a checklist? I think it'll help you out just to, okay, is that in the right location? Do we have this? Do we have that? That would be great. And then it's also a matter of if you are missing something, you can just say, drop me a message, say, listen, I'm missing this, please follow up on it. Okay. Then lastly is pens and paper. Okay? We actually need that lying around. So can organize that just for helping out the guys filling out the documents and filling out breakfast, something simple. We actually have to have that lying around.
And then lastly, you guys, we actually got an agenda, and Matt's got is involved, and he sent it out on our WhatsApp group, and so that's what we've been scrolling through on our phone. I know it sounds like Candy Crush, but we're actually scrolling through the agenda, seeing who needs to present next. So Matt, I don't know, next time if the visitors come in, if you have their contact details, maybe forward on the agenda to them. And that is it. Thank you for Toastmaster. Fantastic job. You dressed the part, and I love it. Keep it up. So over to you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. With that, thank you so much to everybody who managed to catch up on time, even though we started a bit late, like 5 minutes. With that, I would like to hand over back to my president. Mr. President, over to you.
Thank you very much, Rebecca. Thank you very much, Dino, for that amazing evaluation of our meeting. I'd also like to open the floor to Chrissy as well as Upo to share your experience of our meeting with us today.
Okay. Honestly, the meeting was great, as always. I learned a lot again today.
Yeah, I think I just need to work harder and be able to improve on my presentation. I mean, this is my second week now, but yeah, I'm looking forward, and I'm glad I'm in this group. Thank you.
I enjoyed being here. My personality, I'm generally a very shy person. I'm an introvert. I thought if anybody just says anything about me talking today, I'm fed up and I say no. But I found myself being in an environment that allowed me to was just comfortable too. So thank you for that. I thought it was a natural environment. Even as when you started today, I found it very easy for me to just be myself and relax and just learn. I also thought Vanessa was great. I enjoyed it. Thanks.
And then lastly, I'd just like to go around and ask every one of you to give me one word that would describe how you're feeling about the meeting, or one word that you think describes our Seneca. Just one word.
Wait.
Wait. Oh,
I don't know. If you type that into Urban Dictionary, you're not going to like the pictures that pop up.
Okay.
Progressive.
Positive.
And innovative. And helping.
Can you kindly repeat what you asked us to do?
One word that describes your experience of our meeting or describes your experience today.
One word. Encouraging.
Okay, perfect. Thank you all very much. And as we prepare to close, I do believe I do owe you one last piece of information, and I'm giving it Okay, so how moral are we as a club? Okay, I'm going to just write to the one next to this. And see our results. Club, we are neutral. We are neutral.
I'm not sure.
No. Well, in other words, we are fence sitters. If we are presented with a very difficult decision to make, we will always choose to sit on the fence. We are indecisive, in other words, as a collective. So that is something.
But Switzerland are doing it at the moment, and they're perfect. They are confident in their choices.
Very encouraging.
Okay, I'll find my
But yeah, overall, thank you all for joining us to our club today. Thank you for engaging, for participating. Once more, it was a successful meeting, and we will do the awards during our next meeting. I will be in touch with everyone just to find out who your votes are for the best speaker, best evaluator, and we will present that to you in our next meeting. Okay. Are you planning on doing another speech in your next meeting?
Mine is the final speech within my pathways with 5, so it's going to be a big one. I have to do a read up on it.
That's okay. And Becca?
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay, perfect. So we've already got that speech set for our next meeting, and then Chrissy, you coming to us again next week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to try doing our table topic session for next week?
Oh, already. How many minutes?
The table topics is about basically what Matthew did today with the asking of the questions.
Yeah, you decide what the topics will be.
Basically, you have to instruct us what to talk about.
Oh, how do you feel about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, will you be joining us during our next meeting? Yes.
I will.
Would you like to be our, what role should we allocate from Marion?
Then again.
The selecting of the word of the day and selecting the, just basically actively listening to people's good and bad use of English language. That's what Matthew did today.
Yeah. So just noting.
Like,
no.
You're overthinking it. Just
okay, yeah. We'll give you all the information.
No, Jackie.
All right. And Happy, will you be joining us online during our next meeting?
Definitely.
Okay, you are going to be, oh, someone making up this recording. Okay, so nobody knows. You will be our counter.
Our counter. Got it.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we will give you all the information that you guys need to run your role successfully. And we've got an amazing meeting for you next week. All the roles are filled. And Dino, you don't have a role for next week. Oh, next week. Educational.
We'll chat.
Okay, cool. Educational. Right. Perfect. All right. Anything else before we close up for today? Everybody happy? Happy. All righty. I'd like us to give ourselves a nice round of applause, please.
Yay.
thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Excellent.
Yeah, I'm well done. What time do you have right here?
Depends on where I'm coming from, but safe to say by 8 o'clock, 7:30, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock.
Okay. I wanted to come earlier, but I wasn't sure as to whether that open. What time are we allowed?
Oh, even if you get your 6 o'clock. Yes, I'll be sorry.
Oh, okay. So how did the problems that when you're online, it says forget you.
Yes, I was like, yes, I wanted to find out what time does the meeting actually start?
9.
Is it
But
half past 8 or 9?
Quarter to online by like quarter to 10 to 9, so that we can do sound test and make sure you can hear us clearly. That would be perfect. So,
Yeah.
Okay. Then official start is 9 o'clock. Okay, on our side, we were saying our first aid. That's why I wanted to just confirm that.
Our first aid is just to check microphones and making sure that everything's working right.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you hear that?
Yes, I got that. Thanks.
Okay.
Perfect. See you next season.
Yes, see you next time. There we go.
Yes, Robert.
Yeah, let me do